Oh my god, guys, I was speaking and this wasn't being recorded. Ooh. What has it been, like 10 minutes? Okay, I'll just continue what I was saying. I was saying that if I was in this realm and for like 30 seconds and I had to teleport out, what would I communicate to human beings? To humanity, to the species so far? Is that the known self, the known world, once that is activated through training, concentration, and the heart, once one can trust the known dimensions of their life, then it becomes super easy to explore the unknown dimensions. Then the unknown self and the unknown world. The unknown self and the unknown world are the future of the human being. The known self and the known world are the past. The present is actually not a location. It's as if the presence of the moment is literally a line between the past and the future. Is that line endless universes in between, or is that line just a singular moment, right? That means, does it matter where we are on the bridge between the body and the soul? Or in some senses, the bridge is one. Some schools of thought in Vedanta, they take a sort of easy algorithm. They love everything into unity, therefore they nullify fear, but it doesn't mean they understand love. Right? That means one can use love to get rid of fear, but they can't. It doesn't mean, because love has, I don't know, of course it's different, but I'm saying, like, in my experience, if you don't care about the life force of something, it's like that is what the word love is disguising, I find. Ultimately, if we really looked at it as energy, energy has to care for energy until it's a more advanced energy. But it's not just like a statue of moralities that's going to be the solution to this species. Because we're going towards the unknown, because in some sense we are remembering our timeless being, that's the only way you can remember the future. If the future is timeless, and any moment in time you can be timeless. That means any moment with the conscious ideological equation of time, if the concept of time is taken out of that equation, a giant factor of meaning has been taken out. So it's as if truth is beyond language, but we have to use language to still exist as human beings to build something. So we should have a post-found truth attitude in this world, maybe. The soul has nothing to do with it. It's the opportunity of being. That means energy doesn't have a purpose, but when energy changes from form to form, then to the form there can be purpose. So it's like the future is going to be really meaningless, the language that we're using. We have to create new languages, or conscious experience moves to a next gear. Because stories repeat, not because history repeats itself. It's because that's what the attention has become familiarized with. That means the only way history, it's not like history never repeats itself, but we notice similar patterns. Doesn't mean it's the exact pattern, but similar pattern. So history has the illusion of repeating. We don't know anything more than our minds. Every human being starts in their mind sphere, like a reality sphere. Inside this reality sphere, its contents are the past. On the verge of the reality sphere, we call that the present. Beyond the reality sphere, it has to be the future. Anything that is not this moment has a greater probability than being has a greater probability in being is closer to being the future than here. That means this could be a strange idea, but it could be that the future has happened. It has happened the moment human beings, if we all decide to be kind right now, it's like we create a kind future, and then that all communicates to now. It's like we've thought about trying to enter the future, but not to live with it. To live alongside the future. That means, imagine there's this legendary war, in a very fictional context. And in this fictional war, the greatest fictional war known ever, there were time travelers, there were all beings and creatures from all fiction, all creatures of fiction, were, let's say, side by side, and you had human beings, even normal, because reality is kind of like a fiction. It's a fiction we can't call a fiction, because then the word fiction won't make sense. And so it's like working alongside a team of time travelers. and mythological beasts from like legend. It's like, can you imagine time travelers riding griffins into battles, and instead of weapons they have like, I don't know, laser weapons or something. Like, it's like the most ain't that time traveler, like a future time traveler riding an ancient mythological beast into battle. Like, it doesn't get more dual than that. If reality is a canvas, the paint doesn't have to mean anything specifically. And it could be that what is normality, what is reality, is an acceptance of vision. It's an acceptance of a certain range of vision, and every person's a different DNA. So if we want to suddenly play the what is stability, what is instability game in civilization, instability to who? Where are the references for the certainty of ideology coming from? It's like known existential bodies plus unknown experiential minds equals the future soul in motion. I feel the future is not, it definitely is not an idea. That's one thing. The most advanced vision, even when I envision advanced civilization, it goes beyond the language threshold. The roots of the advanced, the truly advanced, is beyond visible. It's beyond it, not just visible, like the person has to play the eyes game. The eyes game is for a certain amount of time, then you return to how you were being before you do something. In this life, when we're born, we do things to notice how we're being. But I'm telling you, in the way nature is designed is first, then it does. Then it does anything. That means I have to, this may sound strange, but I have to be experientially my talks if I want to find their roots. That means it's like information is not the epitome of how advanced intelligence can be in this world. Body, we use the past to explain it. The mind, we use free will and the spontaneous arising of consciousness to explain it. When we go to the soul, first of all, we can't use any of those two methods. That means to truly comprehend the future means you cannot be of the past. There's a very interesting quote of wisdom in Christianity where it says to be in the world and not of it. To be in the world and not of it. I believe this wisdom from Christ is a suggestion of to be in the world but not of it. That means to be in time but to not be a creature of time, to be timeless in time. To live timelessly in time is the true depth. That means sometimes when I think about, I'll share it, maybe today's the right day to talk about this. for me, there was a scene, I don't know, it was this film about Christ I remember seeing when I was young, and the character in that scene, Christ crucified, was saying something like, forgive them. It was as if he was talking to the one truth. He was saying, forgive them because they don't understand, or something like that. And I thought for a moment, what is forgiving what? And it fascinated me, and sometimes I feel how far ahead could the vision, I'm saying, because one is I'm going to time travel, but what I'm telling you, it's as if a human being back in that time had realized everything is made of energy, and this energy is present as one. That means, I'm saying, if there was a sort of Spinoza's God angle before Spinoza was born, in Christ's view, it would have been a sort of situation where it's hurting himself. Do you know what I mean? That means it's like the sentence is accurate, where it's as if in the sense, how do I say this? It's like one being who has it's like a drop that has realized it's an ocean and has realized the ocean. The other drops haven't, right? So this drop is looking at all the drops which are the ocean. And when it says forgive them, do not know, I'm pretty sure the angle is like, God, forgive yourself already. If man is the effect, the cause does not need to dwell on man. That means it's this view of the artwork of let's say, an art creator, the artwork of an art creator, and now the artwork is saying, move on, move beyond this, go forward. The vision of intelligence, if it becomes unified, we need a complete new era of philosophers trying to see what would it mean, a collective mind. What does it mean, a singular mind? What does it mean beyond dualism? What does it mean, the word infinite? Why is this word around? People say, oh, I want to have infinite this, infinite that, infinite money, infinite, property, infinite, you know what I mean? And we throw that word around, but have we dared to truly look at it? Because if you look at it, it breaks duality. There is something about the unknown that has a power where all the conditions of the past cannot do anything. You know what it is? It's like a chess piece after 7 moves, and that chess piece is like, I moved myself 7 pieces, 7, like my past has access to its past, but the chess piece can never know when the hand or the forces of nature and the unknown will shift the known circumstance. So in some sense, being a human being, it's not just being a human being, it's being a human being while the world is trying to be a world. So it's like in the same room as the universe trying to be a universe, human beings are trying to be human beings. And this echoes as this fractal truth, in all realms, where sometimes I'm like, it's not that the intelligence of our design is from our brains. The brains are antennas for a higher dimensional creative signal. That means it's as if this notion of in a higher, take this as a hypothetical, but in for example, theoretically, in higher dimensions, imagine they are what is moving is stillness here, or there's a wave from, let's say, a higher dimension becoming matter, a wave becoming a particle in a single moment through the free will's choice. there's something strange. It's not all programming. It's like all knowledge I find on biology is like we've understood the alphabet. Now what we do with the alphabet has to do with the speech of a person, and a person doesn't speak for the sake of the words only. They speak because words are pointers. That means I am pointing to language in these talks, and the language is pointing to an image, and that image is dependent on how your inner realms engage. This is just the nature of the realm. Everybody is a body in their own mind. The body is being treated singular, so we think we have to have only one kind of mind all the time, 24/7, and that's impossible. Just neurochemically, like, it changes the brain. So it's like even sitting in a subway and like having that subway stop 24 times. It's just after a point you're gonna be like, this is not healthy for human use. Like it's as if you see the brain as a jar of liquid. And when the brain hits the walls of the skull, like they say, that's a concussion. So it's as if, like, think about a person in a subway, what's happening? Like, how many of us treat ourselves as 70% water? We're like, oh my God, we're made of 70% water, but we don't take it seriously. As far as I'm concerned, I'm 70%, related to the ocean. That means it's like Poseidon is helping, the god of the land. We have to wonder about intelligence. After treating it like a book, it becomes a notebook. Then the creative responsibility of every brain on this planet arises. Is the backup system for human intelligence's potential. It is like the rebellion of the mind. That it is not that, how would I say it? It's like living in a world that it's like wanting to live in a world that is not the same the next day. The future is for the futurists to design. Let's say the present is for the presentists to design. And let's say the past is for the pastists. It's like all those people who feel they're timeless, I'm a presentist, I'm present right now. I feel attention. I feel the mind creates time. The body experiences it. The mind paints time upon the body's senses as the free will agent starts eyes, it's our outer realms objects. If behind our eyes, it's our inner realms subjects. What's strange? We have to create, we have to design, not hope, but victory. We have to design efficient vision, we have to design an efficient vision of the human victory. Just like in Zen, they say, if you want to climb a mountain, start at the top. So if we want to build an advanced civilization, we have to fathom or wonder about the most advanced state that the whole moment can be in, not just an ideological state, not just a physical state, not just, so there is something that, I don't know, the world is returning to mystery, and if we fear it, we miss out how able we are. There is also this thing happening that tolerance, patience and tolerance is becoming less because people have more of an instantaneous expectation everywhere, right? I just thought of a very unique idea. How can a real being know the unreal? It's impossible. So the reality has to change. So there is a greater truth. There is just this moment, and what you perceive in this moment depends. narrative, Kimetsu no Yaiba. In it, the character has the way they have told the story is of this character that is super intelligent but is going through extreme circumstances. And this character, after learning these certain forms, his whole intelligence and movement in life doesn't become just like the ideology of the brain, becomes just living as the rhythm of the moment. I don't know how to say it. And so it's like the evocation of different forms throughout life or in any moment. Just like in martial arts, there is a stance. Okay, so imagine there being, let's say, hopefully, I can do something about this, but if not, I think inevitably it will happen. A school of advanced communication will take place. And in it, if we wonder about the different stances of the mind, not just ideological based, right? A person can stand in a moment just as the moment. Like we young children, how should we define their psychologies? They're nothing yet. You know, the infant that's just born has no personal psychology. It's like Jacques Lacan says, when the child looks in the mirror and notices its individualism, like that's where the child's life starts happening slowly. The child has something to wake up to. Or wake up as, So different stances of the mind, and let's say we create 4 stances. The void stance. That means whenever something chaos happens, what a person can do is they can become this space and watch and then respond. So there is, let's say, a sort of void stance that the mind can be in. The conscious mind. But it would be its whole unconscious at that point. Now, the singular stance is also very similar. It's like the other side of the void. And I think the singular stance is, let's say, a loving mind. A loving mind singularizes and then trusts the whole moment, so trusts everything in it. The dualistic stance is really where the scholarly intent and the intellect has gone. So you can say in universities, they're just training the dualistic stance of the mind. That's why everybody feels like holding a judge's hammer. There's something known as the sieve of Socrates, where he says before you communicate to another person, see if what you're saying is it true, is it kind, is it necessary? These 3 modes. Socrates says, now, I thought if this was made into a golden or diamond law, or like the sieve law, let's say, of journalism, and all journalists had to follow this or they could not be journalists, how incredibly efficient could communication become? I don't know. I'm just saying it could. Right? Because honor is what keeps moral stability. Moral stability means more human beings on this planet are in agreement than disagreement. That's honestly what morality means. Because the image we give to morality, every culture has a different morality. It's just human beings getting by to the next day without killing each other over a fiction. Over arbitrary self-identification in a changing world. It's like, this is what they say. It's like, yesterday's enemy is tomorrow's friend. because ultimately it's just human beings here trying to do something, trying to pass the time. Now, how we pass the time, it comes to our aims. And if our aims, if we aim low, you get the low. If you aim high, you know, you get to the mountain peak. It's like you can't, it's like that person climbing Mount Everest. Probably when he told people, it's like, hey guys, I'm gonna climb Mount Everest. It's like, you? Imagine the whole nation laughed until the guy suddenly climbed Mount Everest. You know, I think in everyone's life there's a mountain to climb, and it's just about how much you care about the human effort. You know, because it's so easy not to care about being human. One can become emotional, and if they're a decent person, what tends to happen is their rage is burst out into the outer realms, and it could be that someone who is angry in the outer realms but doesn't want to show it in the outer realms, it could lead to inner realm turbulence, right? So the human being has to know how to pilot how they are receiving the world, and also how you know, they have to pilot through how they are being something to themselves and how the world is being something beyond them, right? Because if you can't be humble, you can't sometimes have the access to receive. It's just like we have two eyes to see the same. It's like we have two worlds to be beyond them, to see beyond them. It's like they ask the sage, what do you do with chaos and order? And it's like you just take notes and you move on. What else can happen in this realm? It's like endless chaotic paradigms, endless ordered paradigms. So many different ways that energy can remember to be something. 8 billion human beings, I feel, should pilot their intelligence towards building a backup system and advanced civilization, so then they can rest easy, and then our minds, in some sense, are alive. And you know what else is happening in culture? I should probably mention this too. Because of an information explosion and technology leading to this, we have, it's as if our eyes have seen way more than what we are now, so we can't avoid what is now here anymore. So it's like once the person sees something, they can't, it's like you saw its geometry, you saw its design. That's what it was, you know. But then it's about wanting to see your own next sight. I don't know how to say it, but not in a sense of a dismissal of the human station. It's like this is a incredible. This is like we don't realize it, but for as multidimensional beings in this realm, as in the human format, we are like it's a vacation. It's a vacation for a multidimensional being. there has to be, I find, a 50% at least, 50% unknown, 50% known mindset of function, vehicle of a view. A view vehicle. An ideological view vehicle. And so when there's notebooks and pens and 8 million creatures with unknown minds, the best thing we can do is communicate what is in our ability. You see, it's kind of like being a global hunter-gatherer society. And in this hunter-gatherer society now, it's not about finding stuff only. It's not just about inventions. It is also about what the brain gives the human vision access, which now it becomes more remarkable when it's shared, right? So it's as if, imagine what remembers the future soul through the present mind of the parts body is the living unknown. Beyond that, we cannot fathom. Beyond that, those two concepts are the edge of the language. Then it's off to the language threshold. Experiential experience drives the intelligence, not an ideological linear just format only. And I don't know what else to say. So, oh yeah, the subtitle. And so ultimately, if there's a timeless possibility, that means we have gone beyond how we began and ended. That means if we can find a timeless exit, no, I shouldn't say exit because that kind of points to escapism. It shouldn't be escapism. It should be we were such advanced. We were such advanced communicators of our realm. That we notice even as the unknown side of the coin of all our advancements. And I hope this talk was helpful. I don't know. They say when the artist gives his art out, it's no longer his. Every person's eyes our journey, every person's eyes has a depth that nobody else knows about, and it's as if like the mysteries outside, groups of people can join, teamwork, yay, but the mysteries that are within you, no one can know. You have to just walk in your mind until you realize the presence of reality. And I feel then the person becomes like an antenna, a selfless antenna, and every moment you walk into, it's as if an overflow of information and geometry. It's like every knowledge is everywhere, but when we have to communicate it, it becomes limited. So, and after even we've known ourselves and known the world, it's like the unknown is left. After let's say the observable universe was finite, we'd finish exploring that and go to the unobservable. Anyways, thanks for listening.